Today I want to discuss Macaulay's Minute on Education. This Minute on Education was written by Macaulay, whose full name was Thomas Babington Macaulay, T.B. Macaulay. This was written on 2nd of February 1835. This text has a particular context, a particular aim, and a particular assessment of India. First, I would like to talk about the context. The context of this minute is the 1813 Charter Act passed by the British Parliament. The Article 14 of that Charter Act told the then East India Company to educate the Indians. That article made a provision for rupees 1 lakh a year to be spent on revival and promotion of native Indian literature and sciences, and to encourage the native learned men. When Lord Macaulay came to India on 10th of June 1834 as the legal advisor of the then Governor General Lord William Bentinck and his council, he was given the task of reviewing the provision of Article 43 of the Charter Act 1813. He was told to interpret the terms Indian literature and sciences and the term Indian learned men. Lord Macaulay got the opportunity to redefine the entire concept of education which was to be given to India. We should remember that Lord Macaulay had a particular set of beliefs about human life, about who is entitled to teach whom Providence had chosen to rule the world, to civilize the world, and to spread the light of knowledge and enlightenment. This is the particular context. That is, remember the context of Charter Act of 1813. And now, the particular aim elaborated very clearly in this minute is the aim to produce a class of Indians. It would be better if we remember the words of Macaulay himself. He had a particular aim in his mind to shape intellectually a group of Indians. Those Indians will be well educated, not only in the English language, but through that English language, those Indians will behave and act and think like Englishmen. The aim is to produce a class of persons Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. A quite clear aim that is in the mind of Lord Macaulay. He had the intention through this minute to introduce English education in India. English education means the education in literature, sciences, morals through the English language. whatever present in the English language in the name of knowledge should be transferred to India. The question arises, why? Why was one of the most ancient civilizations on the earth, that is the Indian civilization, needed to be taught through a modern language like English? The answer is the particular colonialist intense assessment that Indian history, Indian achievements in literature and sciences had in the mind of Lord Macaulay. Let us again remember the words of Macaulay. In his mind, the picture is quite clear. The colonialist picture of India is quite clear. He says, a single shelf of a good European library was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia. Let's repeat this word. A single shelf of a good European library was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia. Just see the clarity, the colonialist clarity in the mind of Lord Macaulay, dismissing the entire achievement of literature of not only Sanskrit, but also Arabic. Two classical languages, Sanskrit and Arabic, is dismissed with a single line. A good shelf of a European library is enough to dismiss all the intellectual achievements of the two great Eastern civilizations, India and Arabia. This is the assessment. The question arises, why is Macaulay thinking like that? The answer is that he is a die-hard colonialist. He believes firmly that it is only the British people who have got the opportunity provided by history that all the knowledge that can be contained in the human mind, that can be gained through human commitment to scholarship and knowledge, through exercise of human mind, can be achieved by the British people. The British people are the only privileged people on the earth. And he suffered from the mentality of what is called white man's burden. He had the idea in his mind that being the most educated and the most enlightened race on the earth, the British people had the responsibility to educate the native Asians and Africans. This was the Victorian burden on his mind, that he wanted to spread the light of knowledge and enlightenment throughout the world. Some people have argued that this was a love for India in the mind of Macaulay that was driving him to write such a minute. Whatever may be, that's a matter of analysis and criticism. But this much is clear, that Macaulay is very, very dismissive of the Indian achievement. Now I come to the point, what is the tone of the minute? The tone of the minute is rhetorical. He has a point to prove. He has a point to prove. And what is the point to be proved? The point to be proved is that the British Treasury should not spend rupees 1 lakh a year on promoting native literature and sciences. It should be promoted on a spread of English education in India. Because, as I told you, that English education was the only education that was worth name. So he wrote clearly that the Orientalists of his time, who believe that India should be taught through Sanskrit, Persian, and Arabic, are on the wrong path because they do not know that in these classical languages and the dialects that flow from them have nothing worthwhile to be taught. They are full of incorrect things, unscientific things, superstitions. English will benefit 100 times more than these languages. He clearly says that these languages have nothing to offer to Indians. Indians should be taught through English. They should be taught in English literature, in English sciences, in English literature. Everything English should be taught to Indians. This was the main motive behind writing this minute. It is not a very long minute. It is a very short minute, but it is polemical, rhetorical. The argument of Lord Macaulay is against the Orientalists, and he speaks like an Anglicist, a completely convinced Anglicist that except English language and English education, everything is worthless. So let us be clear in our mind that Macaulay, through this minute, wants to convince his British government to introduce English language in India in a big way and teach English not only in England, but in India, in Arabia, throughout the world. English should be taught. So this is the main motive of the Minute on Education, which was written by Lord Macaulay on 2nd of February, 1835. And it's very interesting that this minute was accepted by the then Governor General, Lord Bentinck, and paved the path of introduction of English language and literature in India in a very sustained kind of manner. Thank you.